This week on Seagar's Extreme Kayak Fishing Challenge, we're headed to beautiful British Columbia on Vancouver Island. We're hanging out at Browns Bay Resort, chasing big salmon and toothy lingcod.
That ain't a bad lingcod right there, first fish.
Stick around. This is going to be a great show.
This week we're just a little bit farther north from Campbell River, BC, in Browns Bay Lodge. Kind of a cool place. Feels like you're not leaving civilization too far to get to a place that feels like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Browns Bay Lodge is a pretty cool place. It has accommodations for people who want to bring in their own boats, RV park, some pretty cool little cabins. We had an awesome one that was on the water. I mean, it actually, cruise ships would go by and the thing would actually sway. It was just really cool. It's like being on a boat. So has everything you need. A little tackle shop there, and I mean, great fishing, a very short paddle right from our door.
We're the narrowest passage on all the way to Alaska, and all the fish kind of funnel right by us down to Campbell River. It's a great location. It's only 5 minutes away from the docks to go fishing.
On a good year, if you time it right, it's just thick with salmon and easily accessible from a kayak.
The fish we came up here primarily to target were salmon. The last year when we came up, the few that we caught were just really spectacular fish and really fun. So I wanted to be able to do that again, get some different species up here. You don't get that everywhere.
Pretty much wherever I go, I seem to, like I say, catch the secondary awesome fish. So for example, in Ontario, I tend to catch all the pike. Where people want to catch walleye or bass, I catch all the pike. So good news is I kind of got used to doing that and I like it a lot. So when I hooked on my first ling, there was that immediate flood of disappointment. It wasn't running away from the boat and I figured it wasn't a salmon. But then when I started bringing up this big, huge, ugly, gnarly head about this big with the big teeth on each side, I got pretty excited pretty fast.
Plan is to put this on a dipsy diver, that way it'll take it down a little deeper for us, hopefully where the salmon are at. So the more you paddle with that, the faster you go, it's going to go down, and then once you get a fish on, it'll release and then come up. It's a good little mechanism.
I may have won. I may have won. Oh!
I didn't see anything.
My challenge this week is to basically step up my salt species. So there's a bunch of fish out here that I've never caught before, and a bunch of fish that I'd never have heard of that I ended up catching too. So I dropped my herring down probably 80 to 100 feet, and I must have been close to the bottom because the big old halibut picked it up. Then tested my rod to its limit. Whoa! Kind of broke as I was tugging, maybe a little too hard. And then I started bringing it in with the rod straight down, and the reel came off. That was probably user error. And after all that, I had it probably within sight if I can peer down under my boat, and the leader broke. I win.
Seagar's Extreme Kayak Fishing Challenge is brought to you by Jackson Kayak, one family, many waters. Ray Marine, simply superior. Yak Attack, make it yours. Seagar, the inventor and perfecter of fluorocarbon fishing lines and leaders. Kokatat, manufacturing paddling gear in Arcata, California for more than 45 years.
Well, today's our first day here at Browns Bay Resort in British Columbia. And we came out to this spot and we've been trolling around a bit. We're all trolling different things. We've got everything from cut bait and a couple different kinds of cut bait and spoons. And just trying for some salmon. We've seen a few salmon caught. I caught an enormous one earlier that was about that big, beautiful spot. James had a fantastic hookup, probably on a big halibut, but unfortunately he had a little technical difficulties and broke a rod. So we're gonna keep at it and just try some different stuff, and hopefully we can put one of these big salmon on the boat.
You know, it was a cool concept to see the kayaks out here. I mean, I was kind of wondering how we would do it and how we would put it all together. We're used to using downriggers and whatnot, trying to get the baits down deep. But yeah, it was a little bit difficult to try to figure it out. But I think after, you know, day one, we kind of figured out that, you know, the sinking weights and trying to just drop the base down a little bit lower worked. But I mean, the kayaks performed. It was awesome.
Woo! Awesome. It's great stuff here.
Blue one.
Yeah, nice blue ling.
I just like the simplicity of it, the peace and quiet of it. No motor to listen to, no fumes to inhale, just paddle when you want. And then when you hook up to a fish that's a good size, let it tow you around, and the real excitement starts when you get the fish boat side and it's just thrashing around, and it's a lot of fun.
We sent up a Coosa HD and a Kraken 15. The Coosa HD for James because we knew he was going to want to do some fly fishing if we had the opportunity, and he wanted that stand-up platform. For me, it was the Kraken 15 because I knew we were going to do a lot of trolling. I knew there was really heavy currents here, and I wanted a boat that paddled well, and I knew I could count on the Kraken for that.
I'm just trying to help. Thank you. It fits me a little snugger than that.
So we got a bait holder right here, Lighthouse Lures anchovy bait holder. So we're rigging that up for salmon fishing. You got a treble hook and a single hook. So we take a 5-inch anchovy, you brine it up with salt, make it stiff, you put it in the bait holder, and then you put a bit of a curve to it so that as it rolls through the water, it has a nice tight roll to it.
It's kind of a weird feeling out here. You know, it's 5:30. You know, it looks foggy, but it's actually smoke. It's kind of eerie. Just waiting for the fish to bite, as always. If you come out here, it's a really good idea to have something like the VisiCarbon Pro flag, something so you can be seen, because a lot of guys are out there trolling and they're watching their trolling lines and they're not necessarily watching where you are. So keep your head on a swivel, make sure you have the right tools like the VisiCarbon Pro, have a whistle on your PFD so you can give a shout. Most of the guys aren't going really fast, but they're not necessarily looking for you. So make sure you have the right stuff on your boat. Also, I tell you what, having the Ray Marine Dragonfly on my kayak is a huge asset. knowing what the depth of those bait schools are, knowing where those fish were, and again, get tired of trolling, looking for the salmon, seeing that structure, dropping down, catching some rockfish, lingcod, halibut, whatever. So again, having these tools on your boat can make a huge difference in your success in a day.
Having your fish finder is, I think, the #1 tool. Not to mention the fact that you're in a pretty diverse area. You can get lost really fast. Everything starts to look the same if you wander around a corner. It's good to know where you are, and avionics is good to have as well.
All right, well, we finish up our first full day here, and it's tough. You know, saw some salmon caught on the boats, but nothing for us other than some bottom fish. I tell you what, seeing the structure, I can drop down pretty much any place. If you'd never starve here, because I can drop down on structure and always catch some rockfish or lingcod. A lot of fish here, but we're just not getting the target species yet. So stick around. We'll keep at it for another day tomorrow. Got a couple of big, beautiful lingcod fillets. Cheers.
That's some nice fish.
Well, it's the beginning of our day 2, and we got some great intel from some guys last night at a spot where they got some fish yesterday. So made a much longer run today, and we're gonna give it a go up here so we can actually get some salmon on the kayak. So beautiful location though. It's very stunning. It's funny out here though. I mean, it's so gray out. It's just all smoke. And I don't even know where the fires are. It's just a lot of smoke.
Let's get them. Let's get them today.
I got 3 rods on my kayak. One set up for trolling this contraption. Dipsy diver, flasher, and then dead bait. Just using 30-pound Seaguar fluoro through the whole thing. The very end is 40-pound, little bite protection. And I've got 60-pound threadlock hollow core braid on my Seaguar SGN. That's the one we really are hoping to get the salmon on. And then I've got my LGN set up for vertical jigging if I stop and want to try something deeper. And then the other one for throwing, just in case I see something and want to throw the spinner. I don't think that's the ideal setup, but we're going to try anyway. But all of them loaded up with Seaguar hollow core braid and Seaguar Premier fluorocarbon.
Just a little curve in it, and that's how you get your bend, right? Because that sticks. That's it. Beautiful. Make it way more simpler. It's got a couple of spares in there.
We have 5 species of salmon that pass through Campbell River, but quite often it's a bit of a paddle to, they're not close at hand and they're deep. There's a few good windows of opportunity where they're close to shore, not too deep and accessible for kayaks for a good part of the summer and early part of the fall too.
Specifically shooting you.
Oh, sorry.
Come on!
Well, came way up here to a spot a long way from the lodge and trolling some bait. Have flashers set up. We have dipsy divers to get it down deep and just work in this same area. These guys are all professional guides here and the area they're working, so it makes sense to be the good area to fish. So that's what we're gonna do for a little bit and see if we can get one of these salmon on board. Super deep water here, right up against this wall. It was like 500 feet. It's crazy deep. It just drops straight down. Really cool.
Ice ready for that bad boy.
It's legal, it's 70. So there we go, we got a keeper. Not a bad fish, eh? Look at the teeth on that thing.
Fishing for salmon off a kayak, you obviously have to adjust your methods, because on normal fishing out there on a boat, you're using downriggers, big heavy downriggers, to get your lines down deep. So in a kayak, we had to find other ways to get the lures down, and we did use a lure called a deep 6, which helped us get the lures down to a depth that we thought perhaps the salmon were at. Obviously, as a novice kayaker, I didn't want to fall into the water while I was doing all that. So yeah, it was a challenge, but it was really a fantastic way to fish.
I was seeing fish up the coast there. We're basically paddling on a treadmill here. I mean, barely making any progress paddling. And so I started paddling hard, and I just got smacked. I need these guys to tell me what it is, whether it's a keepable fish or not a keepable fish. Got him! Oh, a little help from my friends, like I said. What's that? So what does that mean to me? Gotta let it go. Okay, good thing. We netted it. Like I said, I don't know the fish species here, the different types, so that's why we netted it. Make sure we weren't keeping the wrong fish. So can't thank the guys from Browns Bay Resort enough for sticking with us and really doing everything they can to help us get on these fish. They know we're struggling. They know we're trying to figure it out. Just got that hook out of him. Great guys, great place. This is why we came right here. I'm one happy guy right now. There we go. Woo-hoo-hoo! Well, the fish are finally starting to show up. The guys said that it was going to be out about this time that we should start to see some fish in here, and it really is timed up just about right. So stick around. Let's see if the other guys can get on some fish too, and maybe a few more for me. Seagar's Extreme Kayak Fishing Challenge is brought to you by Jackson Kayak, one family, many waters. Ray Marine, simply superior. Seagar, the inventor and perfecter of fluorocarbon fishing lines and leaders. Orion Coolers, never lose your cool. Kokatat, manufacturing paddling gear in Arcata, California for more than 45 years. We've got about an hour left to fish today, and we decided to have a little fun, have a little competition. We've got 3 of us out here on the water, and we got our buddy Pete from Lighthouse Lures, and he brought us a bunch of lures, but we're all gonna use the same one. So, Pete, what's this lure? What are we gonna do with it?
So it's a 6-ounce max shad lure, swimtail bait. So put it down, we'll drop it down, and has really good swimming action, and we're gonna see who catches the most lingcod and rockfish on it.
All right, Brent, just give them a start. Give them a start.
All right, guys. You guys ready? They look pumped. Go! I haven't seen them paddle that hard all day.
Oh yeah, that's probably the biggest ling yet. It's a good fish.
That ain't a bad lingcod right there. First fish on the board. That's quality lingcod.
Well, I think everybody got a little bit frustrated on the salmon front because everybody was so confident they were going to get salmon. But it was a learning process. You know, they weren't used to how we fish. I mean, these guys are all using big, heavy downriggers to troll very deep. And obviously we can't do that in the kayak, so we had to kind of figure it out. But again, I mean, the fact that when we were struggling and you got tired of trolling on the treadmill, you always had those rockfish and lingcod to target.
2 lengths.
Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having your fallback
Bye-bye.
species being a big old nasty lingcod. They are just fun as heck to catch.
Another one.
So we were using swim baits, and I've got one right here. So that's a 6-ounce max shad lure. They're called megabyte jigs. And yeah, really effective for lingcod and rockfish and even halibut.
We had 1 hour. We had to bring in as many lingcods as we can using the same style bait. Started off being the same color bait, but that didn't really work out to our favor because we only had 4 of those colors, and we kind of lost those. In the end, I won. I was the champion. It's on TV. It's on TV. It's recorded. It's true.
False.
Yeah, it was really fun. We had a great time in that challenge to see who could catch the most fish off the max shad lure. You know, Jim's a pro fisherman, so you know he did what pro fishermen do. He outfished the rest of us.
So Jim did catch 6 fish, but that was 6 Canadian fish. So in American, that's only like 3 fish. No, in American, I'm converting upwards. So technically, I won with my 5 fish.
The official winner with 6 fish is Jim. Runner-up is James with 4, and poor Peter with only 3.
All right, well, we've had a great time here at Browns Bay Resort. Thanks, Peter and James, for coming out and fishing with me. We had a great time. Of course, I'm the double winner today. I got the only salmon, and I won in the lingcod catching contest. So Peter gets to do dishes wearing a very special shirt tonight. So I hope you enjoyed the show. We had a great time. I hope you did too. See you next week.